Hello, PJ here, and welcome to another LeetCode challenge in PHP. Today we have sum of all odd length subarrays, and given an array of positive integers array, calculate the sum of all possible odd length subarrays. A subarray is a continuous subsequence of an array. Return the sum of all odd length subarrays of R. And the best way to understand this problem is to look at the example. So we have an array like this, and the output is 58, and it's calculated like, first we have what odd numbers like length we have in this array. So we have 1, 3 and 5. So these are different odd subarrays within this array, and then we need to calculate sum of all of them. So 1, all of these, 3, we have 3 different variation, and 5 we have only one variation, and we then summarize it and we have it. So the sum is 58. So this is an interesting problem, I think, and you will learn the way we're going to do it. You will learn about loops and how to loop through an array and do different things, which I think will be interesting. Okay, so first what we need to do is find how many odd subarrays we have within this array. And the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna create an array odds where I'm gonna store these numbers, and now I'm gonna loop through this array. So what I'm doing here is basically looping through this array from 1 the number of elements of the array. So in this first example that will be from 1 to 5, and I'm gonna check which I'm gonna look for these odd numbers within this array. So I'm gonna test if I is an odd number, and if it is, I'm going to add this number to the odds array. So the best way to test this is use modulo division. So if we use modulo division, so I modulo division by 2, if it's not 0, that means there's a rest to this division, and the I is an odd number, and we're gonna add this number to this array. And in this way we should be able to find all the odd lengths of subarrays within this array. And now we kind of starting proper calculation, the sum of the subarrays. So we're gonna loop through every single element of the array again. Okay, and this time, as you can see, we start from 1 to I less or equals count of array, because we just want positive numbers from 1 to 5. And in here in this loop we just want indexes, and indexes start from 0. So this is 0, this is 4, yeah, and the position in terms of the number, as we would call it, is 1, 5, but in the indexes in the array in PHP I from 0 to 4, and that's what we need in this loop, and that's what we're gonna use. And it's worth remembering this, because this is quite common to make a mistake, some kind of mistake, doing loops like this, and you do a lot of loops like this in programming in general, and in programming in PHP as well. Okay, so so now what we're gonna do, for each element of this array we're gonna loop through the odds array. Okay, so for each element of this array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we need to now calculate the sum of all of the subarrays. So for example, when I is 0, which is number 1, and odd number should be 1, 3, 5, we're gonna calculate 1, 1, 4, 2 plus 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, and we need to do this for each element of the array, and that's how we're gonna get the sum of all odd length subarray. Okay, so, but we need to obviously check first if the odd number is, if we can calculate the sum for specific element of the array, because for 1 we can calculate 1, 3, 5, but for 4 we can only calculate 1, and 3 we cannot calculate 5 because we don't have enough elements in the array, and for 3 we can only calculate 3 and nothing else because there is no other elements after 3. So we need to check that first. Okay, so the way we're gonna check it is we're gonna add to each I the odd number. So for 1 is 1 is less than elements in the array, 3 is less, and 5 is equals, which is fine. But for 4 we can do 1 and 3 but not 5, so the sum will not be calculated. And the sum, we will create another variable, and then if this condition is met, we're just gonna add to this sum. So we actually need to do another loop here. Okay, so in this example, in this loop, we are starting from the index, the current index we have with I, and then we're gonna loop through that index plus the odd number. So for 1 it's gonna be 1 loop, for 3 for the odd number 3 is gonna be 0, 1, 2, and for odd number 5 is gonna be 1, 4, 2, 5, 3. Okay, so we're gonna add the element of rj to our sum, and that's how we calculate the sum. And at the end we're just going to return the sum. Okay, and yeah, let's see if this code works. I think it looks good to me, but let's see. All right, yeah, and it is accepted, and you know, it is quite although this is not a long code, I know it might be confusing sometimes because sometimes we have less than count, sometimes we have less than equals, but you know, that's what it is. You need to practice these sort of things to know when to use what, and sometimes we operate on indexes from 0. That can also sometimes be tricky in an array, but you just need to be careful and think as you do things, so not to make a mistake, because it's easy to make a mistake here. Now let's try to run this code for all the examples on the left. Okay, so that works, and also I was trying to explain it as clearly as I could for you, but you know, I hope I managed to do it, but if not, then let me know in the comments if you need any clarification or if you have any questions. I'll try to clarify, and practice yourself as well, because that's the best way to learn by doing, actually. Okay, so now let's try to submit this, and it is accepted, and yeah, there are some faster solutions, and this probably can be done in a slightly more optimized way, but I think this is good enough, and it took us, with all the explanations, around 15 minutes, which I think is okay. So thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and feel free to try it yourself. Link to this problem on LeetCode will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon.